this heaven?
No. It's Iowa.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining this executive meeting. We're pitching this movie idea for Alien, a sequel. I know you love all these characters, but we're just going to start. They got to die immediately. What do you think?
Yeah, that's great. And if we could have a bunch of just anonymous people that nobody's going to care about when they die, and some shoddy CGI, that would really work for me. I think that would really be a big success.
I don't want him just to die. I want him to die terribly. And then maybe, I don't know, autopsy?
Yeah, the little girl you loved before, we're going to cut her open. Watch her die.
Let's start production now. Let's mix everything that happened in Aliens. Yeah, let's do that. I think that's what the audience want to see. All that hard-earned emotions and success. Let's just all right.
If you can tell, we're talking Alien 3 on the Pot of Dreams.
Was there an alien on board?
Yes.
There's definitely something in here with us.
We have no weapons of any kind.
Let's start.
It's here!
All right, thank you for joining everybody to our podcast where we talk movies, The Pod of Dreams. If you listen, we will pod. Today we're talking Alien 3, the sequel to probably the two greatest sci-fi movies ever, Alien and Aliens. And boy, is this movie rough. That's all I really have to say about it. So I watched this.
You just Forrest Gumped over it, and that's all I have to say.
That's
about
all I have
that.
to say. Life is like a box of chocolates when an alien bursts out.
You never know what alien movie you're gonna get. You know?
Yeah. Is it a weird
one of the
looking
best
alien?
ever, or is it terrible?
But I watched this movie, picked it for this podcast because Fincher he's had a new movie come out recently, and I hadn't seen this for a very long time, and the Alien and Alien movies are like some of my two favorite of all time. And so I really didn't have like a great memory of this. It came out in 1992, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I didn't see it in the movie theater. I was 10 years old when it came out, but I know I loved Aliens at the time, and I think it was one of those where I was trying to push my parents to let me go see it, and didn't work out. So I probably saw it some time later on VHS, and I remember hating it as a kid. I just had this terrible memory of it, and rewatching it now, I think I hate it even more. And actually, I have subsequently watched Alien and Aliens with like my kids, and it made me hate it even more. So it's like a triple down, cubed hatred towards this movie. So that's my initial thoughts. What do you guys think about Alien Cubed?
Well, it's traumatizing. And I think that's kind of the point. They're trying to shit all over everything that you like about Aliens and make it so that it's just painful to watch what happens. And then it's a bunch of bald British guys that you can't distinguish from.
Nope.
And the one bald British
guy...
More
like rapists and murderers.
Yeah, and the one bald British guy you actually start to get to know is murdered halfway through the film, so there goes that. But it's a Fincher movie, and it's got his little fingerprints all over it. It's got that darkness that he's known for.
It does feel a little bit like a Fincher movie. A little. I mean, there's a little like sprinkles of Fincher in it.
Yeah.
Sure, just a little bit, but I think we should add that caveat that David Fincher has disavowed this movie. Lots of people that worked on it have disavowed it. For good reason. Maybe the true Fincher cut would be it'd have to be better because this movie's really terrible.
Specify, so I think we all watched the theatrical version. Cut. There is an assembly cut. Is that what it's called? Yeah,
where they did their best to recreate Fincher's vision, and it has to be better than this because This movie is bad.
I don't think it is. I really don't think it. I haven't watched the full thing. I've watched like a side by side of what the difference is. I don't think it's any better.
Oh, well then, fair enough, I guess. But this version is straight up awful. Nothing goes anywhere at all. None of the plots matter. I mean, we spent half the movie. Ripley has to convince the guys that the alien is real, and then we just have the alien come in and just chop the guy, and then so we're done with that. So what was the point of that first hour? Nothing happens. She just investigates to try to confirm that there's an alien, and that whole thing unfolds stupidly. Yes, her and Charles Dance have a relationship, and it's one of the things that's a little bit interesting. It's not super interesting. It's not, this is great, but okay, I'm a little bit intrigued, and then he gets chopped off an hour into the movie. We set up all these guys as like vaguely Christian monks who are trying to be reformed about their horrible murder and rape in the past. And then we like, oh, here comes, Sigourney Weaver's here. Ripley's here. Oh, well, what's going to be the effect of her being there? Well, we get one rape scene and then it's never talked about again. There's no reconciliation. It's pointless. We talked about Bring Out the Dead, how like those individual scenes worked and it didn't quite coalesce. These are all these dumb little things that don't work individually or together. I mean, just nothing. It's just, there's almost nothing I liked about this movie. I mean,
the plans that they had for capturing the alien never made sense. I didn't know what the point of any of their machination was, except for cannon fodder for death.
Yeah, I think a couple things that are just worth noting. So this movie essentially takes place immediately after Aliens. And if you remember how Aliens ends, which I just watched, like the huge battle with the queen, don't get away from her, you bitch. There's the whole thing in the mech suit.
Dueling mothers, right. No, it's great.
It's incredible. And they escape with Hicks, Michael Biehn, who's an all-time 90s action guy, and he's great in Aliens. And Newt, who's probably one of the greatest kid characters maybe ever in the history of movies.
Only good one.
Mostly.
She's great, They're dead, okay? They're all dead. Like, she's amazing in that movie. And so you exit Aliens they all go back into cryosleep. And this movie kicks off where Newt's dead, crash, face hugger on Ripley. Hicks's face has exploded. And, we made a little joke in the beginning before the podcast started, where the first scene where Ripley kind of wakes up and realizes what's going on is she wants to see what happened to Newt, and they have an they cut her open. This little kid who you loved in Aliens, they cut her body open, and it's so awful. It's like torture porn almost. It's like the worst possible. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I just want to watch your movie. Why are you torturing me?
And they do nothing with it. It's not like they want to clean the slate for some really. There's nothing. They do all that for nothing.
They hate you as fuck you for buying a ticket to this movie or for watching this movie. I hate you so much. I'm gonna put you through this awful experience because. Fuck you. I don't care. It is one of the most wild choices that Fincher ever thought, hey, we're going to have her die. Okay, all right. But no, that's not enough. We're also going to cut her open and make sure you see her little dead body. It's really one of the most bizarre, almost offensive choices I can ever remember in a movie.
Yeah, you can't imagine a movie... sequel made like this now. I mean, sequels are made for more sequels nowadays, and this one just okay, everything you liked, we're just gonna end it.
And then, spoiler, at the end, you're Ripley, one of the greatest also female characters in the history of movies. She also dies, right? Everybody dies. It's all over. Everything you cared about's done. You stupid idiot people. Thank you for your money.
I mean, we do the Wayland Corporation is evil, or are they of course they're evil. Why? There's no tension there. Wasn't I've never seen the movie before, but I wasn't oh man, maybe they're really good now. Maybe she should trust them. It's obvious.
Had you never seen Alien Resurrection or any
I've
of the
only ever seen the basketball scene from Alien Resurrection for some reason. I don't know why that's the only one I've seen. And I've seen Prometheus, but I didn't see the other one that was after
Prometheus is a prequel, I think, to even the first Alien.
Well, sure. I'm just listing Alien movies that I've seen.
And the Alien Covenant is the one that you didn't see then.
Okay.
But you didn't know Ripley died?
No, I didn't know. I think I knew. Well, I kind of did because I think I knew she was resurrected in Resurrection, that she was cloned or something. They do something weird with her DNA.
Yeah.
So I assumed she died. I wasn't like, oh my god, they killed Ripley. That wasn't a shock. What else were they going to do with her character at that point?
Well, it was a
anyway?
shock to a young Eric Lane, it sounds like.
Well, sure.
I hated it.
If I were a big fan of Alien and Aliens, and then I saw this for the first time, it would have been devastating. I mean, I didn't have the same reaction, but it just feels so pointless. Everything about this movie feels pointless. I can't. None of it makes any sense. It's really aggravating how it all unfolds. Just even from the way the face hugger, right? It hugs the dog, right? Okay, that's a dick move, right? To show a dog getting face hugged, and then that's a tough, aggressive move. But it just doesn't work at all in the context. Like, it's horrifying. But the guy who loves the dog never checks up on the dog. He sees that the dog is sick, but then he's cleaning the vent and he never checks on the dog. Nobody ever notices that the dog's guts are splayed everywhere. Nobody ever checks that out. The dog's just sitting there like its carcass exploded because it would obviously indicate something weird was happening and it's an alien. So instead, he's cleaning the vents and then he sees the shed skin, which disappears after he dies. Nobody else ever sees it again. And we just have to, like, stupidly, slowly, we don't think the alien exists. We think you're lying.
Well, it's like those are the beats of the first movie, except then, like, nobody knows anything about it, right? They're totally ignorant to what this thing might be. But they
really know it's something. They don't think it's made up. They don't understand what it is, but they aren't like, this is a lie, or you're crazy, Ripley. Nothing, like, they're like, something fucked up's happening, and we just don't understand it. Here, it's they just suppress it, and then we're just, okay, we're done with that. We spent a while not being sure if they were real or not. Now we know they're real. And you mentioned, like, the faceless British guy. This is one of the huge problems with the movies. Like, Alien and Aliens, we spend so much time getting to know the characters, right? We get to know the crew of the Nostromo. We get to know, like, the military folks. You form a relationship. They have characters and personalities. They're complex and they're interesting. When they die, it's sad and it's frustrating. Here, you don't care about any of the characters. Nope. I mean, I didn't even care about Ripley, really, at this point. It was like, with everybody that she cared about dead, what would you hope for Ripley in that situation? It's like, just, I guess, go out swinging? I don't know. Well, I mean, I just couldn't figure out what the point of any of this was. Like, I was just constantly, what were they thinking? I don't get it. I just don't get this movie at all.
I was just going to add the other thing that occurred to me, which was kind of mind blowing, is if you look at this movie from, like, Ripley's perspective, and you think about the first movie, you know, she kills the alien and then goes into hypersleep, and then she's supposed to be gone for like 10 months, but ends up, I think it's like 57 years or something like that,
right?
And then wakes up, and then so to her it would be like the next day, right? Like she went to sleep and woke up. And then goes on this whole ride with the military to kill this other alien, which is basically like the next day for her. And then she fights all the aliens and aliens. I think at one point they say she hadn't slept for like 24 hours. But like to her, it's like the next day. And then she goes back to sleep after killing the queen and wakes up, and then this happens. So to her, it's like 3 consecutive days. It's like one day she's fighting each alien, you know what I mean? Can you imagine? Because for us, it's like years have gone by when these movies happen, but for her, it's really like just three days.
Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine having gone through those 3 day experiences in 3 days? Like, you'd be like, fuck, I'm just, kill me now. Like, Jesus Christ, all these aliens, I'm done.
Yeah, you wouldn't put me in hypersleep, that's for sure.
On that front, shouldn't Ripley be just a lot more devastated about what happened? I feel like
she was about Newt. I thought she did a good job about that.
A little bit.
I think for me, it's just like, holy shit, I can't believe you did this. Like, it's more shock than anything. But yeah, but she only knew Newt for a few hours. Really, that's the other thing. If you think about it, like from Aliens, they go to this planet to find these colonists. She finds Newt. It's like a span of 6 hours before they kill the alien and go back in hypersleep. So she really only knew the girl for a few hours.
Yeah, but it was, I mean, the movie invests you in that relationship, right? She becomes a chance to be a mom again, right? Because she missed out with her kid. because the shuttle, skipped past Earth or whatever happened.
Wait, what? I don't
Isn't
remember
that why?
part.
Isn't that why it took her 57 years to get back instead of 10 months? Or why did it take Ripley 57 years to get back?
The ship got lost in space.
Right, so it just took the wrong path.
Well, I think when she fought the Queen, her ship got damaged.
No, I'm talking about between Alien and Aliens, right? Like,
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
She didn't fight the Queen in Alien, but okay.
Or the alien? She jettisons the alien from the escape pod, and in the process, it damaged the ship, and so it's floating in space when it should have been back to Earth in 10 months.
Got it. Okay, propulsion wasn't correct, but my point is she missed out the chance to be a mother, and that like her kid grew up. Didn't she have a kid? Doesn't she have a daughter?
I don't know if there's ever a reference to that. That's what I was curious about you saying.
Oh, I thought for whatever reason she had like a kid to go back to, but the kid was like really old at that point. But maybe I'm just
You're thinking Interstellar, dude.
Okay, I guess. Okay.
I don't. Maybe you're right. Kevin, do you remember anything about Ripley having a child on Earth?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay then.
Because I don't think for her she's not supposed to have aged, right? If you're in hypersleep, you don't age the same.
Right, yeah.
Right. In my head, she had a kid.
Cryosleep or whatever.
She didn't age, but her daughter did and got really old. Is what I had in my head. But
maybe there's a reference to that in like Resurrection or something. I don't remember that in Aliens or this movie.
Okay.
That would be devastating, though.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I made a joke about Interstellar, but that's what makes that movie so like traumatic. Is when McConaughey comes back, his daughter's like older than his grandmother would be.
Okay. Either way, she loses out on. She's going to be a mom to Newt, and that doesn't end up happening because of Alien 3. Because I guess a facehugger snuck onto the ship that we didn't see at the end of Aliens. No, it's an aggressive choice. Is the alien in this movie supposed to be dog-like?
Yeah, because they kind of bond with whatever that gave birth to them genetically.
Because in Aliens, they are sort of humanoid-esque. They kind of move like humans,
Yeah, I just was trying to think of what the movie did with that, really. Like, it runs on all fours. I couldn't... Other than that, I didn't know what else it did that was canine.
Here's major problem number 2 with this movie, is they tried to introduce CGI, and it looks absolutely awful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, legendarily bad. You might as well have just drawn it like a cartoon, like a Roger Rabbit shit, because it looks so bad. And I think that's, this is the beginning of where they tried to replace, like, costumes and effects, like practical stuff with computer. And it's only been downhill from here, I think. I mean, this was the start of just an awful trend in movies.
Blame Terminator 2, because they made it look so good in Terminator 2.
That's true.
Like I came out a year for this one, and it looked awesome.
But in Aliens, not a single computer-generated image, and they look incredible. Like the alien, that's one of the best parts of the movie is the monster figures and how they look and sound. And
yeah,
in this movie, it's computer blobbed.
Almost no good shots of the alien. I can't think of maybe one or two.
There is right after Charles Dance's character is murdered, and the alien goes up to Ripley and like sniffs her out.
Yes,
that's one of the most famous scenes from the Alien movies.
Yeah, that
almost gives her a kiss.
Very Finchery, and it looks amazing. That is a great looking scene.
And it realizes that she's pregnant with
the Queen.
The Queen, yeah, and so it doesn't kill her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's if you guys ever listen to the Blank Check podcast, I hate to promote another podcast on here, but like they go in heavy deep on like the production of it and sort of what happened and why it happened and how the stuff with Fincher and how he didn't want anything to do with it and what they made him do and how they made him change it. And I don't know. I have watched some pieces from the assembly cut. There's like the beginning scenes more extended, like it's longer before you see the alien, and then there's more stuff about like the people on the prison, but it doesn't really add a whole lot. It actually like you don't care about these guys. Like I think that's the worst part of the movie is introducing these guys that you don't give a shit about. and then the ending's a little long. It's just a longer version of this. I don't think it really makes it any better. It's like a half hour longer.
Okay.
Well, didn't the middle thing worked where they actually did catch the alien, right? And then I think when they catch the alien, and then one of the prisoners lets the alien out, is the main difference between the assembly cut and the theatrical.
See, because I was reading some stuff, and it looked like, they played up the religious angle more, and they sort of viewed the alien as the devil and punishment, and that would have been more interesting to me than whatever this was, which is none of that. It's not anything. There are no themes of anything in this movie. There's nothing. It's just in some ways, like a tiny retread of earlier movies, but way worse.
But it's also like really confusing because they're not really even prisoners anymore, right? They just stayed on this facility because they didn't want to leave. So they're not even really prisoners, and they're not forced to be there, and that's confusing to me. I don't know. Like, I think you put an alien on an actual prison and let it just like wreck shop and kill bad dudes, and like it's like Con Air with an alien. Like, okay, maybe that's a better movie.
Yeah, well, they didn't want to spike the budget with too many people, I think. They wanted to keep it low.
Yeah, and it has that feel, too, where it's like, it sort of feels on the cheap. You know, they like reuse the same hallways over and over again, and all the guys are sort of dressed the same and look the same, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a bad movie. It really is.
Yeah, it's top to bottom. I mean, yeah, you mentioned the one shot, Kevin. I kind of like that the one crazy guy lives. That's sort of interesting. Like, this random character lives. That's a tiny bit interesting, but it's like I have to scrape and claw to figure out anything. I mean, there's just nothing here. There's nothing to chew on. The action sequences are confusing, right? You mentioned that earlier. Like, they're going to light the hallway on fire or something. I couldn't understand exactly what they were trying to do with the explosive stuff. And then they run through the corridors at the end to try and trap it into one section, and that was disorienting in a really bad way. I couldn't tell who was doing what where, and then what was the alien doing, and it hopped. I mean, just could not track the action. It was incomprehensible to me, almost every sequence, and I think they knew it looked bad because they really don't show the alien very much. I think they just tried to get in and get out because I just think they knew it looked goofy. On a side note, I'm going to go back. So on the extended cut of Aliens is where Ripley learns that during her 57-year-long stasis, her daughter, Amanda, grew up, married, and died. So it's not in the theatrical cut of Aliens, but in the extended cut.
Never seen the extended cut.
So there's a scene where she finds out that her daughter like lived her full life and died. Got married, and it's part of the reason why she's like, well, fuck it, I guess I'll go back out into space. Because I can't, my kid's dead. Anyway, I didn't think I was making it up. I didn't think it was complete fabrication. It's in there in the extended cut of Aliens. It's just a brief scene where she finds out when she gets back. Sorry, that's more interesting to me than Alien 3 because I don't. I mean, it's.
Well, I think Alien 3 is interesting for the choices it makes.
I don't understand them, though. That's what baffles me. I mean, yeah, it makes all these confusing choices.
Because it's a badly made movie. But...
Right.
Well, wasn't Fincher like in his early 20s, too?
He was 27 when he made this movie.
Good Lord. And he's got to make the third movie in a franchise that's been incredibly lauded by, two iconic
he's got to
filmmakers.
follow up Ridley Scott and James Cameron.
And meanwhile, he's got a bunch of studio executives absolutely on his ass, telling him what he has to do.
Yeah, there wasn't a finished script, as I recall, when they started filming this. So that
would make sense.
But part of me, like, I think you can, shift some of the blame. I think Fincher's got to take some of the responsibility, right? Like, you wouldn't think it'd be that hard to make a sequel to Aliens, just maybe more aliens and let Sigourney Weaver fight them. I don't know.
But I don't think David Fincher had a lot of clout. So yeah, you can. I mean, maybe it's a somewhat of a cop out, but like you say, he's 27. What did he direct before this? Right, like
Some music videos, right?
Yeah, like so he's some guy they got that really they expected him to do what they wanted. They didn't get an tour. There was some talk early on in the development process about getting Ridley Scott back, but it didn't work out with timing, so they didn't get Ridley Scott. I don't think James Cameron had any interest in going back to the franchise. They wanted somebody young who could do what they wanted, and he had a vision, I think, probably, that got squashed.
Why can't you get James Cameron back? That's the thing I don't understand.
I don't think he wanted to do it. I mean, I don't know.
He spent so much time in a sci-fi world with aliens, Avatar.
He was working on Terminator 2 Judgment Day all throughout this time, which is an infinitely superior movie than this.
Because it's not his original. He didn't own it. I guess that's probably the simplest answer.
And he probably didn't have a good idea for a third movie. He wouldn't do it just to do it. He probably didn't think, man, I've got a really. I mean, he probably.
Why doesn't the alien ever come to Earth?
So in the early development, there was talk about getting the aliens to Earth. That would be the obvious escalation.
I mean, why doesn't an alien ever fight a predator? Like, come on.
Well,
let's try that.
I have seen that. That's another alien movie that I've seen.
The Requiem. Alien vs. Predator.
Two of them.
Yeah.
Is there two Alien vs. Predator movies?
Yeah, one's PG-13.
You guys ever play the arcade game, the Alien vs. Predator, the side-scrolling 4-player arcade game back in the day? No?
No.
I don't think so,
okay.
no.
It was amazing.
It was like did you ever play the X-Men arcade game? The side-scrolling?
Of course, yes.
It was exactly like that.
Okay.
Except you could pick an alien or a predator and just run around and kill shit. I think you were all predators. That's if I remember right. I think you were
fighting
all predators.
aliens. I was like, well, if you're aliens and predators, what do you fight?
No,
what are your adversaries?
Were all predators. Yeah.
Because like this, William Gibson, this guy had a first crack at it. A guy named Eric Red had a crack at the script. David Toohey, Vincent Ward had a crack at it. Walter Hill and David Geilers.
Walter Hill was involved in the original, right?
I guess. I don't know.
And Aliens. I think he's involved in both the first two movies. And
Fincher did some work on the final screenplay, but people were fired. Walter Hill and or anything finalized the work done by previous. You see the evolution, because originally it was going to be that. It was going to be a 2-part epic thing. Michael Biehn was going to get back to Earth, and then Ripley wasn't going to show up until the fourth one, and it was going to be just more of aliens, basically. You're going to have more aliens, more fighting, more action. And then they just went back to, we've got to get Ripley back in the movie. She's got to be the star. She's the franchise. And it's just got more.
We need Ripley to fuck and then die.
Basically.
Let's chat about that. So she goes to bed with Tywin like way too fast, right?
Well, see, that's part of why I'm like, she's not in a state of grief. She's just gonna bone him really quick.
Just immediately she's like, "Hey, all right, let's fuck." You just cut open this girl that I really cared about, and I'm on a planet full of rape. This was before she got raped, right? Or was it after, or attempted to get raped? I can't remember.
It was before the attempted rape, I think. Sequentially.
Just awful choices. Just awful choices for a movie. Really, really, actually makes me mad the more we talk about it.
But it's aggressively bad.
You don't like a woman showing her sexual freedom?
No, I do, and believe me, Sigourney Weaver for me is like all time. Like those little underwear that she had on in the first two movies, like that changed a 12-year-old Eric. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
But then just to jump right in with Tywin.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
She had some real chemistry with Hicks in Aliens, and they didn't jump in the pod together, or the cryo chamber together.
Maybe she regretted that.
Didn't want it to happen again?
Yeah.
He gave her the little bracelet, and it's like, we're not engaged yet. And there was some real heat between those two.
There was.
I see. This is where it's just baffling, right? So Charles Dance, right, the lovant, the recipient, there we go, of Ripley's aggressive sexual advances, he said that they filmed an alternative ending for Alien 3 because the one that we got was too similar to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. But they ultimately didn't do the alternate ending, and they went with the one that was like...
Oh, yeah, with the lava. Yeah, jumping in the lava.
I thought that the whole time. I was like, okay, this is the T2 ending. She's going into the lava. She's not doing a thumbs up. She's cradling the alien.
It even
instead.
gets, like, metallic, right? Because they fill it with molten,
metal.
Melted metal.
Yeah.
No, but it's like metal, right? Doesn't he jump out and he's, like, covered in metal?
Well, that's right before that, but yes. He gets
just
covered
saying,
in...
the comparisons to T2 are just, like... way too close, right?
What was the alternate ending going to be?
It doesn't say. I mean, this is some shoddy Wikipediaing. It doesn't say, but they decided, we don't care that it's basically identical in almost every way, other than she's not giving a thumbs up, but she is smiling. She's like happy to be dead at that point, which makes sense because what does she have to live for at this point? Like, sure, let me take the queen with me, and we'll die.
I do know. Like from the Blank Check podcast, they were talking about how they had to film some stuff afterwards, and I don't know if it was the ending or not, but she like couldn't cut her hair again
because they'd have to pay her or something.
Yeah, there was some like fee that they were going to have to pay her, and so it was like I don't know, $10,000 a month or something like that, and so then they had to do this like elaborate bald cap. I couldn't really tell the scenes where she had a bald cap on or not, but it's just one of those things like.
Just pay her to cut her hair again, and then have some real reshoots. Well,
or just don't make it where she has to cut her hair. I don't know. I know that was like a big shock. Oh my God, Sigourney Weaver shaves her head.
Oh, there's a lice problem. How is she going to respond to a lice problem, Eric? You got to shave your head.
Bugs in space. That's all what Aliens is.
Is that the comparison? Is the aliens are basically the infestation, the bugs, like the lice? I don't know. Stupid.
I thought it was a cool look to have her shave her head.
That's about the only thing I knew about Alien 3 was that she goes bald, and I remember the promos of her being bald. This movie needed to make some choice. It needed to make a very crazy choice. Like, it needed to make it something. Like, you go bigger, fine. Make it a comedy. Do something. Take some risk. This is, like, awful. It's just this horrible pastiche of just all these nothing plot points. It really is.
And it's not even like a horror movie. Would you even call this a horror movie?
It's not horror. It doesn't really do the action.
Yeah.
It doesn't do drama. It doesn't do anything. Like, that's where it's just like, pick a lane. You want it to be about these guys trying to deal with their sins and feeling guilty about their crimes? Do that then, if that's what you want to do. But it doesn't do that. You want to make it do the whole, is the alien really there? Are they like, go that direction. Make it less obvious that the alien's around. Make it ambiguous. Make it so we're not quite sure. Film doesn't do that. I mean, just does not do a single thing. Not action. Explicitly no guns. That was the thing I think that Sigourney Weaver said. She didn't really want guns to be a centerpiece of this one, which is part of why they have no guns in the facility, right? So they have to be creative with how they're going to stop the alien. But it's not about religion. It's not about action. It's not about anything. It's just nothing. It's a big flat nothing. It's shocking me how there's just nothing whatsoever in this movie. But
I haven't seen Prometheus in a really long time. I remember kind of liking that one.
Yeah, I like Prometheus.
It's much better than this.
Does that one, because that's Ridley Scott, right? That's him coming back.
Yeah.
Does that movie presuppose that, like, the aliens are the first life forms in space? Isn't it something like that? Or that the original creators of life created the aliens to destroy humans? Or
well, so there are these giant bluish white aliens. One of them kills himself, and then like that becomes the building blocks of life, right? That's the like initial protozoa or whatever,
on
billions
Earth,
of years
right?
ago. Correct.
DNA.
Correct. The first organic molecules on Earth.
I mean, there's there's plant life and stuff. It's a very lush green world, but they seed. Yeah, they seed the other life that comes, from what I remember.
All I remember is he eats something and then he like decomposes into water, and we see the molecules just get pushed in this river. But yeah, okay, the first non-plant life, fair enough. But basically, he created humans, this other race, right? They're the creators of humans, and then eventually we get enough technology advance that we go out to find them. And we confront one, and then he kills what's the name? Guy Pearce. And I think here's some stuff I found out. This is not anything that's in the movie. It's probably too weird and got cut for that reason. Apparently, these people, this creator race, was so disappointed. So they it's hard to verbalize because it sounds stupid, but. Jesus was actually brought to their world and taught their ways and how to perceive reality and how to be peaceful. And Jesus came back.
Is this headcanon or is this actual?
No, this is extended cut DVD stuff on Prometheus. This is not headcanon.
So Jesus was abducted
by these aliens, came back and was...
Did they probe him? Did Jesus get probed?
Don't know anything about probing. I don't know what they did to him.
That's what happened to him for like 30 years. That's why we don't hear about him until he's like 30.
Right, so then he comes back and he preaches. He's like, these are all the ways we need to be. This is how it can become a better civilization. And then we, of course, kill Jesus. So they create a bioweapon to ultimately rid us because we're a disappointing creation. And that's where the aliens come in.
The xenoforms? Xenomorphs?
Yeah, because we see the first one, it's like just a weird, it's a weird mimicky DNA sort of thing, and it sees a guy, and it merges with, I think Naomi Rapace is her character's name, and we start to see the first xenomorphs come along, and that's, I think, the origin is. But it's, again, creator race is disappointed in us, wants to kill us. We stumble upon it and interact with this bioweapon, and the byproduct is the xenomorph. So there you go.
So wait, so they created life on Earth and then wanted to kill life on Earth.
Correct. They're like, you guys are greedy, warmongering twats. You guys have not been advanced. Screw you guys.
So Jesus is responsible for the aliens, or
the aliens are responsible for Jesus.
I mean the xenomorphs. What happened to Jesus is why we have xenomorphs.
I guess, according to Ridley Scott, yes.
It's all Pontius Pilate's fault.
Well, a funny sort of side tangent. So I watched the first two movies with my kids, and the first one when William Hurt's choking, and all of a sudden the alien pops out of his chest, and it's got the little teeth. My daughter's like, "Oh, it's kind of cute." I was like, "Oh, okay." That's your takeaway from this scene is the alien's kind of cute.
Wasn't scary. It was just kind of cute.
Wait, did you guys watch Spaceballs by accident?
No,
I saw Spaceballs before seeing Alien, so it was a little less shocking when you encounter Spaceballs before Alien.
What year did Spaceballs come out?
84-ish, somewhere in there. But definitely after Alien.
I may have seen Spaceballs before Alien, but I think I saw Aliens before any of them. Because Aliens is like 86, 87, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would have been too young to have seen that in the theater, for sure. But
yeah, Prometheus is a movie that has an idea, at least. I don't think it works, but at least it goes for something. It has a goal in mind. It tries to get us there. It works as kind of a sci-fi horror. It at least does that. Unlike Alien 3, which does none of that. Does nothing.
Yeah. I mean, Alien 3 needed something like the Bill Paxton, just some guy who's funny and crazy, and just some sort of personality. It's so drab. It's just so like blah, and there's just like these gray hallways and bald heads. It's like,
Yeah, well, one of the best characters, Charles Dutton, he's just way too serious as well. But he has a heroic
he's
end.
Good. He's very good in the movie.
Yeah, he's well cast. He's one of the only ones with an actual personality and charisma. But
you first time you meet him, he's like, I've raped women and killed babies, or I don't know, whatever he says. Like,
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, dude, just holy shit, chill the fuck out for 2 seconds. Jesus Christ, we just met you.
Well, he didn't want to be tempted, I guess, by talking to a woman.
They should have had it be like a female prison. That would have been a better idea.
Caged heat,
No.
says Eric Lane.
More shots of Ridley in her underwear.
I mean, I'm not saying no to that. I don't know.
All right, well, I want to talk about the coolest scene in my mind is when she reboots Bishop and he talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That was
actually
amazing.
a visual effect. Yes, it looks cool. It does look cool. I can see that. Although it was also pointless. We just need him to tell. We need him to tell us that there's a xenomorph in there. Okay, but she's gonna do the ultrasound later on, and the alien's just gonna burst through.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem too is we already know what's happened. We know what's happened 30 seconds into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't know, and none of the characters know, but we know we already know what's going on. There's no mystery to it or suspense. We already know what's happening. So it's not like a big revelation halfway through the movie, oh my god, she's got an alien in her. We already know that. We saw the face hugger in the first 2 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, so what's the point of making it a mystery for the characters? Why does that help the story? And I don't think it does. I think it gets in the way of, you could introduce the alien earlier and just make it clear, okay, yeah, there's an alien, and then do something with that instead of spending an hour with the characters not sure, and I don't know, maybe.
Well, just have the face hugger have got the dog and have do the alien thing and never reveal that she has one, and have that be this holy shit, she had one the whole time. You know what I mean?
Sure, but
when the queen grabs her, you're like, why didn't the queen kill her? I don't know, and she starts to wonder why too. And then she, goes back and sees there was a dead face hugger in the ship, and she was, impregnated. Then it's a mystery the whole time. You're not waiting for it. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that would be a meaningful reveal. But just let them find the dog early. Okay, there's an alien here, guys.
That is one thing. I did watch the assembly cut. It's apparently a big boar or big hog or something like that.
An ox.
An ox. That's right. Yeah, and it looks really bad when it dies.
Wait, what? What's an ox? What do you mean? Sorry, I missed the first word.
The alien gets on an ox and not a dog in the assembly cut.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
See, do something with it being a dog, right? So have the alien hesitate, poke his head out, and see that it's his former buddy, and pause for a second, do something.
Have its tongue hang out
for one brief instant before it snaps. Is something.
Ripley should play fetch with the alien.
That'd be better. That would be an actual risk.
Get a frisbee out there.
Yeah, sure. They figure out they can distract the alien with just throwing a frisbee, and then it can't help itself.
It throw it right into the liquid molten
It gets
metal.
distracted with dog biscuits. Okay. That'd be more interesting than anything this movie did.
Take it for a walk, get a little collar, and take it outside.
If it won't hurt Ridley,
does
can
the
she just
alien
not poke it with a stick or something? It's not going to kill you. Just try to agitate it. Do something. Poke it in the eye. I don't know. I'm just going to be sad that it won't kill me.
Kill me now. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say. This movie really bummed me out. I didn't like it.
It's a mess. It's an absolute mess.
I think I give it a 1.5 stars, maybe.
Yo tambien.
I give it 3 stars because it does something that no sequel would do nowadays, and I found that a little bit refreshing.
You can't imagine Captain America 3 where it's everybody you care dies, he dies at the end, you're all fucked. That would never happen now.
We're freezing Captain America again. We're going to the year 2090. Everybody else dies and he survives into the future. That's
a
true.
bold choice. It's a very bold choice.
But if it did something with it, cool. But it takes this risk and then does absolutely nothing with it. I mean, it just doesn't do anything.
It's the Last Jedi of Alien movies, if you ask
Last
me.
Jedi takes way more risks than this movie does. It has way more.
Way more risks than killing Newt and Hicks and Ripley.
This movie doesn't. It does something bold, and then it doesn't do anything with it. What's it? What's the commentary on the Alien franchise?
What's Last Jedi do with any of those choices? Luke Skywalker dies. It didn't make any difference anything.
It's
But
a
we
whole
don't need-
commentary
we don't need
about
to have
where the Star Wars franchise
argument.
is, and how lame the stories have gotten, and how they're trapped in a
I think
Skywalker struggle.
honestly,
this is not that.
You know, if you listen to the blank check, that was like a big intent of this. Is like it's a reflection of the Alien franchise and what it has become, and like the sort of metaphor for studio meddling and basically saying a fuck you to the studio, and essentially saying franchise filmmaking is awful. Let's destroy it and end it. Which is sort of what Last Jedi is saying, right, about some of the Star Wars choices. Like, let's kill it. Let's move on and get rid of this. I think it was actually a very similar type of movie.
I'm not sure I totally buy that. I mean, when you think about where Alien 3 was, I mean, you have two beloved movies. Nobody thought the franchise was stale or boring or trite at this point. Nobody's like, God, we're sick of the Alien movies. Golly. I mean, one came out in 79, the other one came out in 86. And this one came out 6 years. I mean, this is not like they're cranking these out every even 2 years. So if they did it with the intention
when did the Star Wars movies come out?
1977 is the first one.
Okay. And then when did Phantom Menace come out?
1999.
Huh. And then
I'm not sure what point you're making.
When did Force Awakens come out?
2015.
Huh.
I'm not sure what point you're making. I really don't know what point you're making.
I don't know. Timelines kind of match up a little bit. There's a big gap. I don't know. It's the same thing.
This would be like Return of the Jedi being like, we're bored with Star Wars. Enough. Golly. This would be like that, as opposed to we're now on our 10th movie with Last Jedi, whatever it was. This would be like you'd make the movie now to say, screw you, these Alien movies are boring and dumb, and we're cranking these out, and they're not any good. And they're just lifeless.
There's supposed to be like an Alien show, I think, in the works. Is that right? Or is it a movie? The guy that made Fargo, the Fargo series, he's supposed to be behind the next Alien thing. Alien Romulus, I think, is what it's called.
Okay.
So it's going to be a TV show, not.
I think that's the plan. Let me just do.
What are they possibly going to cover in Alien Romulus? What? See. If the whole point was an FU to the Alien franchise needs to happen now. It didn't need to happen in 1992.
Actually, it's supposed to come out this year, 2024, August.
And what's the plot? Is there a plot synopsis at all?
I don't see one. You'd think there'd be like a trailer coming out pretty soon.
But if the goal was to kill Ripley so that they didn't have to tie themselves to Ripley for new Alien movies, then I guess okay. But then they just bring her back with DNA in the next one anyway. So who cares?
Yeah, it's kind of like the killing the Emperor and then just having him just sort of reappear for no reason.
So that is not a Rian Johnson problem. That is not a Rian Johnson problem. That is a J.J. Abrams choice. That has nothing to do with The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi killed the stupid villain, if you recall. So
yeah, this is different. So this has nothing to do with the show that I think. So this is it's a horror film standalone installment between the events of Alien and Aliens.
Okay.
This is a movie. It's a film.
Oh God. Okay.
Huh.
See, this is Star Wars' worst impulses. Hey, what are the most popular and best Alien movies? Alien and Aliens. So let's set a movie right between those two, so people really care. Oh, that's just awful. I mean, something will be happening with the alien. Is it about the colony that gets infested with Newt? Is that what it's going to be?
Could be.
We're going to see how that all went down. God, I need to see that.
Yeah, so Noah Hawley is also developing a TV series for FX, which is an Alien prequel. I don't think there's a release date on that. So this is like a 30 years before Alien prequel.
So they're never going to do an Alien on Earth, sounds like.
I don't know. I think you're onto something, man. I think that's the way to go. You're right. I don't know why they haven't tried that.
I don't know. I guess because once you go there, there's nowhere else to go. once the aliens get to Earth, you either have to figure out a solution to the aliens or.
But you can
take
do
over.
like a big giant war between
Sure.
like a Star. You guys ever play StarCraft? Probably not. You guys aren't.
I know what it is. I never played it, but I know it's.
But yeah, it's like one of the big, one of the like races you can play is like an alien thing that just infests planets and attacks. You can just do like a big giant World War aliens. There you go, on Earth.
That was, I think, part of what the original view for Aliens 3 was. You were going to have a big epic conclusion with the aliens finally reaching Earth, and then it was going to be a big showdown. And Michael Biehn was going to lead the charge against the aliens. But,
Well, that sounds like a good movie.
Yeah, you got my ticket. I'm paying for that.
well, you can argue with the studio executives who, in what was this, 20th Century Fox in 1989 or whatever, didn't want to pay for it, or I don't know. Yeah, it would have been better than this. This was, I don't know, like, yeah, I just wish there were more actual risks taken. It's just nothing. This movie doesn't know what it wants to be. It's nothing. This movie reeks to me, Eric, of meddling, of 8 different people wanting 8 different things and insisting those things are in the movie, and then Fincher having to try to cobble it together, and then you just get this mess. Any final thoughts on Alien Cubed?
No,
Watch it. Go watch it.
It will pass the time. You'll watch it, and then 2 hours will elapse. So if that's your goal, this will help you achieve that.
If you want to watch a movie that wants to say fuck you to you, then watch this.
yeah, it's definitely in that line of films where you're like, you can tell whoever made it is just, I hate you for watching my movie, and I'm gonna make you sit through something that's gonna hurt you physically.
Jeez, you took it personally.
Fincher's like, I mean, he's kind of a, I don't know what you'd call it, where he pushes buttons. He's a, God, I don't know how you want to phrase it, but he's definitely the kind of guy that likes to make you uncomfortable when you're watching his movies. I mean, to have Gwyneth Paltrow's head in the end of Seven, like, that's a choice. Like, that's painful. I think it's in those lines where he's like, I'm pushing your buttons is like his sort of vibe.
Sure, but I didn't get any button pushing vibe. Like, I know, okay, we're undoing aliens.
It makes you feel something,
I wish I felt something.
Provocative is maybe the way you'd phrase it. I don't know.
If this movie were provocative, that'd be interesting, but it's not provocative. It's just kind of drab and dull and lifeless.
I think having an autopsy of Newt is pretty provocative.
I think that upset you more than it upset me. It's like, okay, where are we going with this? Oh, apparently nowhere. We do this. Oh, okay. She thinks there's no aliens for 10 minutes. Okay. It's this.
Well, they did it to upset you. Is the real point of it.
Well, yeah, I guess that didn't work on me. I guess I wasn't as emotionally devastated as apparently Eric was.
Well, I think it's upsetting to see a 12-year-old or whatever age girl being autopsied.
I honestly can't say I've seen that in any other movie. So
yeah, okay. That's an interesting take.
But like for me, Alien and Aliens are like 5-star masterpieces.
Of course,
like,
sure.
They are some of the best, like literally the best movies ever made.
And they're so different in tone.
Yes.
And this one is a definite shift in tone as well.
Well, and like you said, you got Ridley Scott, James Cameron, and David Fincher, 3 of the maybe best filmmakers. You could make an argument that those 3 guys are like top tier Hall of Famers, maybe not in the like Spielberg, Scorsese camp, but they're up there, they're maybe in that lower tier behind them.
Sure. They're epic filmmakers.
Christopher Nolan, I mean, of course, is on the top of the mountain.
And QT. 1A and 1B respectively.
What do you think if I was like Christopher Nolan is making the next Alien movie? Think it'd be good?
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, he's done sci-fi. I think it'd be really good.
Christopher Nolan is one of those guys. Whatever he does would be interesting. He couldn't do a project that would sound uninteresting to me. Like, all right, that's what he's doing. So sure, James Bond, fine. You want to tackle the Alien franchise? Great. Let's see it. Whatever.
I did hear his next movie might be a horror film, like a straight horror movie.
Okay, sure, sounds good. Romantic comedy? All right, I want to see Christopher Nolan's romantic comedy.
I want to see him do a comedy. Straight up.
Sure.
slapstick comedy.
There'd be some time jumping, I bet, involved.
No, but let's have at it. We're the Scots tribe.
I mean, Oppenheimer's a laugh a minute. That's a pretty hilarious movie.
Yeah, it's very funny.
I've become death.
Destroy our worlds.
That's a riot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I guess we'll close the book on Alien 3. It's also, so it's like Aliens is the sequel to Alien, but Alien 3
Alien
is the sequel
Cubed.
to Alien Cubed is the sequel to Aliens. That's kind of confusing. And then is it Aliens? No, it would be Alien Resurrection. So Aliens is the only one that has the plural to it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it.
No, you're right. It is, I guess. If some marketer decided that that's how it should be.
Again, is it Captain's America or Captain America's? If you had more than one Captain America, like Attorneys General, is it? You know what I mean?
I like Captain's America. I don't know. I like the way that flows better than Captain America's. That feels like, I don't know. That feels like yours. You have one captain of like North and South America.
Yeah.
If you have Captain's America. There's several of them.
It's his America. Maybe you throw a little apostrophe in there?
No, now we're getting weird.
All right. So are we're doing another movie or we're done?
Nope.
This is
the last one.
Last episode.
We're going out on a super high note.
I've got a movie for you guys.
Perfect.
You do?
Yes, this is one of my favorites. Whenever I'm bored and want to watch something, this one is frequently what I'll put up and take a looky at. It came out in 2008.
Okay.
It has a Rotten Tomato score of 42.
Interesting.
It's
I was gonna say The Dark Knight, but
I want to say Tropic Thunder, but Tropic Thunder has a higher score than that for sure.
yeah. Well, its budget was 120 some million, and it only pulled in 91 million worldwide. So it was a critical and a financial failure.
Okay.
and
It stars Emile Hirsch in the titular role.
oh, I know what it is.
This
I
Speed
got it.
Racer?
Yes, it's Speed Racer.
Oh my god. I've been itching to rewatch this movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Is this the Wachowskis, right?
Wachowski sisters made it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll let Eric discover it, but I think I'm already hearing Eric's review in my head.
Honestly, I thought it looked awful. That's why I never watched it. I thought it looked like really bad.
That's where you're wrong.
Oh man, I'm excited. I mean, I saw it in the theater. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Whatever that is, 15 years ago or whatever. So I'm excited to revisit it and see if it is as good as I remember.
I mean, I was like a big anime person, but I never watched Speed Racer. It was just one of the animes I never watched.
Yeah, it was one of the original ones that came out.
Yep. Like I watched Dragon Ball Z, a lot of animes, but just not.
Nerd alert.
Okay.
The only Speed Racer other than the movie I've seen are like clips on Twitter where it's showing Speed Racer is some kind of like sociopath or like YouTube. There's a whole like subgenre where they just take clips of Speed Racer out of context and just make him look like a sociopath. They'll just say something just like really awful and dismissive.
Oh,
and
that's hurtful.
Funny.
That's really.
There's like a monkey, right? Doesn't he have a monkey?
Chim Chim. Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a monkey.
No, that makes sense.
What doesn't make sense about having a monkey?
While you're racing your car? Okay.
I know you're not an Emile Hirsch fan. This is a problem. I know Eric doesn't like Emile Hirsch.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a fan of his. That's a guy whose career just like absolutely eviscerated from this thing.
Yeah, he's problematic. That's probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that, but
kind of a piece of shit, huh?
He's kind of a piece of shit. But, I separate the art from the artist. This is prime art right
well,
here.
He was like the it guy for a minute. He's like Timothy Chalamet before Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, after Into the Wild, I think that's when he was like pretty hot stuff.
Well, he did that one. There was that one comedy movie, Girl Next Door or something.
Yeah, with the porn star next door.
Yeah. That was like a big deal.
And then he was doing Killer Joe a couple of years later.
And now I think he makes like straight to video Mel Gibson movies, you know?
Oh no. Okay.
I actually liked
Bleak.
Into the Wild. I like that movie quite a bit. I think that's good flick.
Even though it stars somebody you don't like, you were able to look past it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So why don't you like Emil Hirsch?
I just don't like his vibe.
It's like the Paul Rudd thing. It's just like Eric.
I don't like his vibe.
It's fine. Bill Paxton is like that for me. It's the biggest strike against
Bill Paxton is unbelievable. How could you not like Bill
He
Paxton?
I always see him as Chet from Weird Science. Every role he's in, it's
Why don't you put her in charge?
Game over, man. Game over. Oh God. Okay. Thanks, Bill.
Twister.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Please.
Bill
do
Paxton.
rest in peace.
Bill Paxton
Rest
is
in
what
Paxton.
is what Paul Rudd wishes he was. Honestly, Paul Rudd would beg God to be half the actor that Bill
I think
Paxton
Paul
is.
Rudd already made a deal with the devil to never age and to be just in a bazillion movies. So I don't know. I don't think Paul Rudd's trading his career for Bill Paxton's, personally.
I'm going to start the anti-Paul Rudd campaign.
It'll be you and like 5 other people.
Yeah, there's a lot of us out there. There's dozens of us out there.
A guy that keeps going in movies because everybody just kind of likes him. It's just a general happy vibe. But yeah, no, there's no logical reason. Eric just doesn't like Emil Hirsch, whatever. But
okay, well, I think this will be easy to watch. I believe it's on Max still.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing it there. I'm like, yes.
Does it look cool? At least like
it's a Wachowski brothers.
I think
movie.
it looks incredible.
Cloud Atlas was hot garbage, so
it looked good though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it looks incredible visually, but it's a certain. Not everybody's going to agree that it looks incredible because it's a particular high octane, super bright vibe. So
But is it just CGI blobs? Like, what was the Spielberg movie, Ready Player One? Like that, I thought that movie looked like trash.
It looks way better than Ready Player One.
Yeah, that movie did look like trash. This has a certain panache. It has a look that it's going for. It nails.
I think so. Yes, exactly.
We'll talk about it next week. But like, has there been a really great anime to film adaptation?
It's called Speed Racer.
Okay, well, we'll talk about Speed Racer, but
Are you not hearing me? Speed Racer, motherfucker.
I think you're part of the dozens of people that think Speed Racer is a great movie. But
I think there's more Speed Racer fans than anti-Paul Rudd fans. I'm going to say that.
It's just surprising there hasn't been a great anime. It's hard to
tough
translate.
because animation can do things that live action can't. So no, the Dragon Ball movie was, I think, horrible. I never saw it. It looked god awful.
Well, a lot of it is
live action. Last Airbender
trying to make
was terrible.
White people movies, right? Because like, well, I mean, like they were gonna make Akira, which I think Akira is the greatest anime ever made. Like I think that.
Oh sure,
incredible. But they would make it with like a bunch of white dudes, and it would just it wouldn't work.
But how would you make that visual style replicate that in a live action movie?
How would you do that? You could do it.
I doubt it. I think Akira's doing things.
Look at Blade Runner 2049. Blade Runner 2049 looks absolutely incredible, and it's this whole world. You could do the same thing with Akira.
I just think there's no way it looks as cool as the. I don't think there's any way it looks as cool as the Akira anime. I just don't think that's possible. You can make it look decent.
Denis Villeneuve could do it. I mean, he could do it.
Maybe.
He's too busy making Dune.
Making incredible Dune movies.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because do you think there'd be a lot to take from anime, and there's not just really hasn't worked, other than Speed Racer, of course.
You'll see.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk Speed Racer. We're going to see how Eric tolerates it next week. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.